somewhere along the way, I got a little lost. What the hell's going on with my life right now? You want to get there, but there can change. I challenged myself to try meditating for a full hour a day for an entire week. Optimized productivity. I don't want any of that. I want an expansive life. I want to live a rich life.
Hey, Drew. I love it when people call me that. Like, that's not my name. It's funny.
I feel like there's work to be done here for me to get to where I want to be with all of this.
I feel like I can contribute something that's a little bit different.
I'm honestly really enjoying this so much. Let me know if you like it.
Hi, Nathaniel. Welcome to Tech Ed. I'm really thrilled to have you with us today and get your take on such an important topic as mindfulness nowadays. You create videos on all kinds of inspiring topics and all with an incredible amount of reflecting and analyzing. And one of those topics is actually mindfulness. So can you tell us what mindfulness is to you and how you try to incorporate it into your daily life?
My kind of perspective on mindfulness and mental clarity as a whole has evolved over the years. At first, it was about kind of increasing productivity and a little bit of self-mastery, if you will. And over time, it has become much more about observation, just observing the present moment, kind of recentering and being an observer of my own thoughts, my own emotional reactions and whatnot. So it's become this thing that has brought a lot more kind of self-awareness, and it's something that I hope to stick with for the rest of my life because I think that's sort of a lifelong practice.
So you also talk a lot about mental clarity on your channel. How do you think we can benefit from mental clarity, especially in a fast-paced world like ours with so much input going on? What is mental clarity to you?
The world is a crazy place, and I think it's only going to get crazier with the speed of change, with new technology. We've all seen so much change over the last few years. And I think that it's no surprise that, feelings of anxiety or stress have become so common. There isn't anybody in my life that hasn't dealt with that at some level or another. And so, mental clarity has been kind of my approach to proactively doing something about it. I don't like to think of myself as a victim in my own life. I'm always looking for ways to bring intentionality into what I'm doing and to understand why I feel the way that I do. And a huge part of that is about slowing down, about experimenting, about paying attention to what I'm thinking about and what I'm feeling. And so mental clarity has become this sort of slogan of mine, this thing that has kind of stuck with me and that I go back to quite often.
So keeping a clear mind is actually a challenge on its own. But what do you think was your hardest challenge so far and how did you cope with it?
So interestingly, I think the hardest challenge for me throughout this entire journey and to this day is developing a healthier relationship with myself. I think a lot of my search for mindfulness and mental clarity and figuring out a way to slow down and live, like I said, more intentionally, part of the challenge has been that's been motivated by not necessarily the right things, a lot of self-judgment, a major internal critic. And so a big challenge that I faced is changing that dynamic. And I know it's possible. I'm in a very different place than I was a few years ago, but that's something I encourage a lot of people to explore as well, because without realizing, I think we behave in a certain way so that we don't face or deal with other things. Like, for example, an intense internal critic.
So you already shared a lot right now, and in your videos you share even more and some of your very deep thoughts and your advice on how to do life really from your perspective. And what do you see as your biggest reward for what you're doing?
Honestly, the biggest reward from all of this has been a changing relationship with myself. It's been so cool that, people care to watch the things that I create and to connect with people around the world. And that's been massive. But I think the biggest thing has been this changing in the dynamic in sort of my internal universe and not having the same level of self-judgment that I used to.
You're obviously helping with putting yourself out there. You're helping other people. But what tip would you give anyone who wants to make an impact by empowering others?
I think the best place to start is within yourself. That's my view of how change happens. People don't like to be told what to do. And so instead, I focus on myself. And then I kind of try to share as much of what I'm learning as possible. And that's certainly the sort of change that I've kind of felt happen the most in my life. It's observing other people that really inspire me and kind of emulating them. So that's where I would start.
So a while ago, we're going into a little bit of a different direction now. You started a series called Digital Minimalism, and you're addressing living and working in a digital world. Can you give our audience a few tips on how to establish mindful behavior in our day-to-day work life, especially now while working from home, and how we can deal with digital fatigue?
First of all, this is a real tricky one. And I think it's tempting to try to multitask and use all the new productivity tools. And it's just so easy to fall into the trap of doing busy work. But I think the mantra that I have on this topic is simplicity. The less things you can be doing, certainly at once, if you could just focus on one thing at a time, the quality of what you're doing is going to improve. And this goes beyond any marketing that you might ever receive on the latest productivity tool or what have you. But this is how we work as human beings. And this is how people from centuries ago were able to be so prolific. Charles Darwin, right? He didn't have the internet. There's many examples of incredibly prolific artists, Picasso, right? And they never used the internet. They didn't use the tools that we have today. And they were still able to get an incredible amount of work done. So
one of the tips you actually shared, Picasso didn't have that problem, is organizing your inbox. And that I think is something that is so simple, and yet many people don't do it. I don't do it. No. What is your tip on that?
I've just created this system of splitting my life into a few segments. It's, work, personal, family, because my family members send me a lot of, emails, and creating sublabels and keeping the inbox in and of itself as limited as possible. It makes it easier when you're starting your day and you're jumping in to see what's going on. For me, it's worked.
Thank you for your insights. So in a second, you're going to guide us through a short meditation session. Can you just tell us real quick, how did meditation change your life and how can we benefit from it?
So meditation for me is this thing that I kind of started, I don't want to say by accident, but in search of a solution for my anxiety and feelings of overwhelm, which I think are very common these days. And at first, it was about just slowing down, developing the practice of following my breath and observing my thoughts. And it became this habit that has helped me kind of ground myself regularly. And it has changed over time. And I think that it's an amazing opportunity to be with yourself, to acquaint yourself with your internal universe. And that's always time well spent, in my opinion.
Okay, that sounds really great. I'm excited what you're going to do today. So let's get into it.
So when I feel anxiety, I felt this kind of tenseness in my body, in my chest, and it can feel absolutely overwhelming. It just sort of takes over. And many people's descriptions of their anxiety kind of seems quite similar. And so it's been helpful to develop these tools, these kind of places that I go that help me cope with this and not just run from it, but explore it and kind of better understand it. I think it's important to have a little bit of context because I don't feel anxiety when I'm out in nature, in front of something beautiful and bigger than me. And I think what happens oftentimes for me is a lack of perspective. I think anxiety comes from a lack of perspective. I'm focusing in on my problems, all the things that aren't going right, and I'm losing sight of the bigger picture. So this guided meditation, if you will, is kind of an invitation to think about the greater context of your life. The first thing that I do is, if it's possible, I lie on the ground or I take a seat and just make sure that I'm comfortable. And I make sure that I'm giving myself permission to take a few moments here. It could be 30 seconds, it could be 30 minutes if you need, but I'm giving myself permission for this time. And the first thing that I do is I close my eyes and I take a deep breath in. And I think about the incredible improbability of my existence. I think about my ancestors, everything that they went through, everything that they had to survive to lead to my existence. Generation after generation, country after country, civilization after civilization, it all led up to me in this point right now. I find that that kind of is a major reminder for how lucky I am to be here, how inexplicable it is, how this came to be out of a billion different scenarios, a trillion. And I think about my grandparents, I think about my parents, and then I think about the different memories that kind of pop up in my mind of different points earlier on in my life that have also led up to this moment. Early memories of drinking chocolate milk in the kitchen or looking for bugs in the backyard, or the feeling of nervousness that I felt before exams in middle school, or the first time I got on an airplane alone. Whatever it may be, I let these moments kind of pop up in my mind, I observe them, and then I let them go. And all the while, I'm just taking in this gigantic library of moments that have led up to one single moment, the moment right now. And then I try to bring my focus into where I am physically. I pay attention to what my clothing feels like on my body. I pay attention to where I've placed my hands, maybe on my lap or next to me. I pay attention to my breath, coming in slowly and back out. And I just lie there, taking that in, taking in the preciousness of all of these sensations, this gift that I've been given. And I lie there for however long that I need. And when I feel ready to take on the day again, I get up and slowly try to pick up whatever it was that I was doing again, but with that sort of awareness and context for the preciousness of my time here.
Wow, you really took us down memory lane here. I had to smile sometimes. It was really nice. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I find it's helpful, it's good to have a little bit of context. Sometimes I spiral, and so I think it's great to sort of think about how crazy it is that, we're all here and doing what we're doing, so.
It was a pleasure having you.
It was a pleasure doing this. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome back to Channel 1, streaming live from the SAP TechEd House, or like we like to call it, our extended living room, or in this case, our extended rooftop. I don't have one by myself, but I would take it definitely.
Rooftop, yeah. As we're on the rooftop today, we're starting on the rooftop at least at 8:15 or 8:20 in Central Europe. I can't say 8 o'clock in Central Europe because it wouldn't be true. I brought my hat because with my hairdo, of course, I have to be careful about the skin on my... I'm not going to wear it all the time, so don't worry. Anyway, we are focused and mentally clear, right?
Totally focused now.
Okay, same here. And let's maybe check out what is gonna happen next. Although I first have to probably throw away my phone and all and get off the internet and everything, so I can focus and stay in the moment here. But I haven't arrived there yet. I can notice that. I didn't sleep well. I'm sorry if I'm a little confused right now. It may be evening or afternoon or something for you, but for us it was getting up, what, 5:30 in the morning?
Yeah, roundabout.
So just roundabout? Yeah, okay. Well,
And the fun part is usually I'm the person not able to speak in the morning, and Karsten is like, yay! Today it's, I think, different way around, so interesting.
If anyone is listening who knows me, the description of Karsten in the morning is like, yay, will seem very strange to all these people. Anyway, should I start with the overview?
Let me tell what the topic hour is all about. So the topic of today is called Innovate for the Future with SAP S for HANA Cloud and Industry Cloud. And Industry Cloud solutions are cloud native and built on SAP Business Technology Platform and are using intelligent technologies like analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence to create new user experiences that unlock new levels of efficiency and differentiation.
Wow.
But Karsten, how are the round about 45 minutes structured?
Actually, you've said it all now. We can go.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm not supposed to move, actually, so I'm sorry about this. Anyway, no, how's the hour structured? The hour is structured. We will check in with the chat team next after this, and then we will come to the actual topic of the industry cloud. We will start that out with a demo of the SAP Intelligent Trade Claims Management, and then continue to an expert panel that will be led by Kai Fink, who will introduce his own guests that he's bringing and also talk to his own guests that he is bringing. That will put the demo into context, hopefully, and we will then afterwards close with a partner message from Dell. But first, as I said, we have news from the world, basically, the check-in chat.
That's right. So as you might have noticed when you're registered on the official SAP TechEd event platform, there is actually an official chat that is running throughout the 48 hours. So you can engage there and really interact with SAP employees. And we actually have one of those SAP employees with us. I'm very happy to have DJ Adams with us here, or should I say Professor from the developer keynote. And yeah, he's one of the developer advocates supporting this chat. And I'm very happy to have you here.
Thank you. And good morning to you as well, both of you.
Morning.
Thank you. So can you let the audience know what are who's behind it? So we met you now, but how many people are actually behind this chat?
I mean, I don't know how many people in total. I mean, some of my colleagues are involved, I'm involved, but there's also some people in a room downstairs that I've never been to yet that are involved. It's like people in their ear and everything. It's like really, really, a good coordination of people. There's some awesome chat in the chat facility that you just mentioned, Juliana, as well as the Q&A, but also chat is spilling over nicely into the community groups as well. That's groups.community.sap.com, sort of for more long-term chat after this event finishes. And we've had some really, really interesting conversations.
Perfect. So what are the key topics that are being discussed?
Well, one of the key topics in the previous segment, Lena was talking about the hashtag UTFRW, which I find really easy to say. I just remember it as sort of, Unicode transformation format read-write, which is, but it's really unofficial TechEd, fun, run, walk, and roll. And there's been loads of folks putting their photos on there, showing, showing basically what they've been doing, where they've been running, and so on. We've also had lots of people interacting with the pictures of Casimir, building their own sort of collages and images on mugs, on stickers, and so on, which is fantastic to see. A brilliant discussion kicked off by Michelle Crapo, TechEd Memories. This is obviously a virtual tech ed, but we've had many fantastic in-person tech eds. People are sharing pictures. It's definitely worth checking that out. And one really interesting one that included some topics from the keynote, both the executive keynote and also the developer keynote. Bärbel kicked off a thread. Basically, she said her head was spinning with all these different terms, BTP, BRF+, Cloud, Keema, Fury, and my head is spinning as well. I think everybody's is, because there's so much to learn. And so there's a really nice thread sort of explaining all these different things. Tom Young has stuck in a load of information as to where to go to find out more about each of these different buzzwords and phrases and so on. And there's all sorts. So Chris Payne was on this morning, and he mentioned in a chat with other people, it was really nice to see success factors, topics, and HXM in general on TechEd, and I completely agree. It was really fantastic to see that this morning when I came in. And we've also had some questions about session material and the replays. So yeah, you can download the session material from the TechEd website. The replays of the hands-on will be available mid-December, but it's all there.
Perfect. And I think I saw the post. That was the one with the Post-its, right? That you were referring to. All of those terms.
Really nice way to kick it off, yeah.
Perfect. So I guess then you are going back to the chat team now.
I'm going back to the chat team.
So if you want to catch him virtually writing to you, he will be there. So thank you so much for letting us know what it's like and how the community is interacting.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And
Thanks, DJ.
Hi.
Discuss.
As a call to action, so this is really about you. So please make use of all this interactive options that we have. So make use of the Q&A tool, make use of the chat. The experts are really there for you to engage with you. And with that, Carsten, I think we're now diving directly into our content hour.
Right, and I'll try to add a little more to what you've said before about the industry cloud. I don't know if I'll be successful because you did that great, but let's check. We'll set the ground for industry cloud a little further. We heard about the intelligent suite a lot during TechEd in other SAP communications, and that together with the business networks, of course, already forms a great foundation for all your end-to-end business processes. But in the end, we have to ensure that over all industries, the need for improvement, for innovation is also matched by the speed of improvement and innovation. And to ensure that, the industry cloud set out to, by SAP and also partners, develop industry-specific solutions on top of BTP, on top of often specifically the Keema extension runtime within the BTP to provide these industries with their specific needs. There are multiple solutions out there already, like automotive, healthcare, manufacturing, and consumer industries. The next demo focuses on the latter, on consumer industries, and it's about intelligent trade claims management. It's built on the BTP as an extension to fit, as I said, the industry needs, as the industry cloud is set out for, blah, blah. I'm talking too much at this point. Let's hear it from Paige Casario, the technical product manager for consumer industry cloud.
SAP Intelligent Trade Claims Management is a consumer industries cloud solution that supports the resolution of trade-related deductions, process trade-related claims, reinforce with supporting information, and use machine learning and intelligent capabilities to learn from past actions to get smart recommendations for promotion matching that ultimately reduce potential duplicate and erroneous deductions. While these core capabilities of SAP Intelligent Trade Claims Management are quite exciting, what's even more exciting is that behind the curtain of SAP Intelligent Trade Claims Management, there are several microservices running on Kubernetes that talk to each other mostly by events. Because of this loosely coupled and event-driven architecture, it provides a seamless experience for customers to fulfill their custom end-to-end use cases by consuming events and APIs that are exposed in the Extension Center of SAP Intelligent Trade Claims Management. In this demonstration, we'll show how end users or partners can build customizable extensions to SAP ITCM that fit their business needs. And this can all be achieved in 3 easy steps. 1, through the configuration of SAP Keema for connectivity, 2, the setup of the SAP ITCM Extension Center, and 3, the creation of serverless functions in SAP Keema Web Console. Let's navigate to SAP Keema Web Console. Before we dive deeper into the demo, here's some quick info on SAP Keema. SAP Keema is a platform for extending applications through serverless functions and microservices. It provides a selection of cloud-native projects glued together to simplify the creation and management of extensions. As SAP ITCM has built-in support for SAP Keema, we can leverage the full power of this tool to extend the functionality of the SAP ITCM app quickly and easily. To get started, I create an application for a Kubernetes namespace and connectivity setup in the SAP Keema Web Console. This namespace will later be used to host the serverless functions or customer-owned microservices. While it takes a little time to finish the initial account setup, you start to see the status change from gateway not configured to not serving and to a final status of serving. Next, I open the SAP ITCM Extension Center to register the Keema cluster. While there are 2 supported extension capabilities, one through Open Events and the other through Open API, we will only demonstrate Event Mesh 1 scenario today. As the Keema endpoint is already registered under Customer Environments, I'm able to click on the Event Mesh tab to view available events to be consumed. Here I see 4 events ready for consumption. These include claims, AR open items, documents, and settlement. Since I want to extend the life cycle of the claim, I choose the claims tile. Next, I'm redirected to a page with 2 tabs, the first one displaying the 4 types of sub-events consisting of created, changed, approved, and deleted. On the right side, an Open API specification of the service is shown, and in the details page, I'm able to configure the connected services. To do this, I enter a string in the channel and choose Keema as the connected system. I save this change, and now the ability to upload the claims API specification to SAP Keema can be realized. Back in Keema, I see the claims event display the provided services and events section. Now that the connectivity setup is complete, I can get to the interesting part of writing serverless functions for my use case. From there, I can see the SAP ITCM event as an application display and service catalog with the API details directly shared. The claims creation event shows here, and now I need to provision the application configuration to the namespace so that the serverless function in that same namespace can make a call into the remote application. In the function screen, I create an event, SAP ITCM, and save it into a Redis server. This newly initialized data later gets retrieved as a new message notification by a mobile application. Following this, I write a simple Node.js application. The Redis and UUID dependencies get imported, the data gets read from the event payload, and it gets inserted into Redis with a generated UUID key. I navigate to the second tab and import all remaining dependent libraries. I then format the Node.js inside the powerful web IDE and add the environment variables mostly pertaining to Redis port and host address. To bridge the connection between SAP ITCM and the serverless function, I go to the next tab and add the event trigger. I choose the one from the already existing events. After it's saved, the code status updates from building to deploying. In the background, there's a small CI/CD process executing build to test and packages the content into Docker containers. Now the final stage is running, and the serverless function has successfully and efficiently been created. Next, I quickly create the other 2 serverless functions. The function ITCM FUNC fetch is provided as a REST API to be used by mobile application. The serverless function ITCM FUNC upload is utilized to fetch uploaded pictures or documents to send to a third-party tool. These get generated as abstracts and then sent back to SAP ITCM via API Gateway. I return to the SAP ITCM service and go to the claims screen to see existing claims. I click the button Sync to populate new claims from the source system. After the page refreshes, I see a new claim with the ID 5600. When I click into the claim, I can verify other information. Note, there is nothing shown in the remark field, and there are no documents attached to this claim. On the retailer side, there is a mobile app which has notifications of the newly created claims. This is all due to the power and extensibility of the serverless functions deployed in SAP Keema. The retailer goes to the newly created claim and clicks on it, and the screen changes to photo mode. The retailer takes the photo he uploads, and after some time, it's uploaded to another Keema serverless function. During this process, the status in the mobile app changes to image uploaded. Now, when we return to the SAP Keema web console, we can confirm the logs of the 3 serverless functions. We see the claim ID 5600 is processing. Then, when I navigate back into SAP ITCM to view what's been updated in the claim, I see there is new text that is automatically populated in the remarks field. Then in the Attachments tab, I also see that there is a new attachment of the photo that was uploaded by the retailer, and I know my work is done. To give a quick recap, we showed how to configure both SAP Keema and the Extension Center to ultimately create serverless functions that are used to extend the core SAP ITCM functionality to cover special use cases. To consider other ways to connect to and extend SAP Intelligent Trade Claims Management, check out the latest REST API specifications and details published in the SAP API Business Hub.
Thanks so much, Paige. And I found it really interesting to see how easy it actually is to really build customizable extensions to SAP Intelligent Trade Claim Management. So thanks for sharing that. And yeah, as she said, if you want to learn more, check out the SAP API Business Hub for more connection and extension options.
Okay, and we will also get a chance to learn even more about the industry cloud in just a second, because we'll get different perspectives in our expert panel. And before we come to that, we will have a couple of minutes of Q&A in the end of the expert panel. So do hack away on the questions there, enter them in the Q&A tool early so we can get to them at the end of the panel.
Perfect. And with that, I already see our guests waiting. I'm very happy to welcome Kai Fink, who is Program Lead for SAP Industry Cloud. And he has with him Jan Gilg, Jörn Keller, and Ralf Stemmler. And as he will do the introduction, I'm handing over directly to Kai. Hi, Kai, Jan, Jörn, and Ralf. Great that you're here.
Good morning. Good morning. And thank you for having us, Juliana and Carsten. So my name is Kai Fink. I'm heading up the Industry Cloud program. And what we announced 1.5 years ago at Sapphire was really to make sure that we have an innovation and transformation space for our industry customers. You know, we are known for optimizing the business of our customers since decades with R2, R3, ERP, S/4HANA. And we always felt that the transformation of industries, in particular these days, is so strong that customers do not only have to optimize their existing business, but they are also looking for transformation. And this requires agility, looking into next practices that we're developing together with our customers, and of course, a deep integration in the S/4HANA core itself, into the cloud LOB solutions and business networks. And I'm very much delighted to have with me today Jan Gilg, our President S/4HANA, then Jörn Keller, Executive Vice President for our Consumer Industries Solutions, and Ralf Stemmler, our Head of SAP's Industry Ecosystem. So, Jan, first to you. I mean, you are leading both SAP S/4HANA development as President and Industry Cloud. So help us understand what is the importance of Industry Cloud when it comes to S/4HANA and vice versa. So how do the two go together?
Yeah, thanks so much, Kai. And first of all, also welcome from my side here. And like you said, it's inseparable from my perspective, because industry has always played an extremely critical role in the context of ERP. And if you think back, all the way to the 90s, actually, we have already built significant industry capability into our ERP solution, which we called Industry Solutions. And that has really helped us to differentiate, because at the end of the day, we do want to help our customers to become an intelligent enterprise in their respective industry. So we need also to address industry-specific processes. But obviously, time has moved on, and we just saw this nice demo on how we develop software nowadays. So obviously architecture has changed, requirements have changed. There is so much more business change around us that we also had to adjust our strategy. So now we are building industry capabilities on the business technology platform. We do it in a modular way. We do it in a way that it can also be combined, because industry boundaries, they are blurring more and more. So we want to give customers the possibility to also mix and match capabilities that we provide. And of course, we make sure that it's always integrated into S/4HANA Cloud as well, and other horizontal solutions where needed. So I think the connectivity and the integration is absolutely key. So even though the solutions are available standalone, from the very first and from the very beginning, we always also look into integrating then the solutions into S4, and of course make sure they're extendable and so on, just like we just saw.
Yeah, so thank you, Jan, for outlining what you said called blurring industry lines, how we have evolved from the former days now into industry cloud, and how we are making sure that these industry cloud solutions really complement SAP S/4HANA. And Jörn, as part of this, I mean, you are at the forefront of this development. We just saw the first outcome of your team's work with SAP Intelligent Trade Claims Management. But what should now developers take into consideration when application development happens for industry cloud solutions?
Yeah, no, thank you, Kai, and also thanks for having me. I mean, many things. Let me start. I mean, on the one hand, really leverage the power of BTP, leverage the technology, the framework we have there, because at the end, we want to build really applications and focus on application development. So really leverage the frameworks that are there. Do not necessarily go on a hyperscaler directly. Leverage Project Gardener as we have done it for our Kubernetes load and intelligent trade claims management. Leverage Keema for extensions, as Paige has shown, right? So these are beautiful things that nicely work together and really give you speed of development, which we want to have. But then also, I think what's important, think about what we have with our one domain model, really making sure that our cloud services, our cloud applications are interoperable, right? So that the integration is really seamless and works pretty closely and easily together. And then, of course, I mean, also think about simplicity, right? Building new applications in the cloud really doesn't mean we engineer from the get-go for massive reuse or in the future, right? So we really have to think about what are the smart applications we build to solve an immediate customer problem. That brings me to my fourth point, which is really customer value, right? We really have to look at what is that value and what do we build for, and don't get stuck in technical frameworks and playgrounds. Really, what at the end is the incremental value we can deliver. And last but not least, it is all about speed, right? How do we really then ship accordingly very frequently? What's the speed of the technology platform we can leverage to have the frequent deployments, ideally several times a day?
Yeah. Love it. Yeah, and actually, I mean, the outcome of your team's work is really incredible. I mean, this year we are bringing to market some 25 SAP-built industry cloud solutions, and they are all going really into new areas, not old things being repainted. No, it's really about new next practice business processes that we are supporting. And if I'm talking about now these 25 SAP-built solutions, I mean, industry cloud is all about an ecosystem play, where we are at the forefront really delivering things, but our partners having a much bigger share into this. So Ralf, now from an ecosystem perspective, so what is the importance of SAP's industry cloud for your ecosystem, and vice versa? What is the role of ecosystem for SAP's industry cloud?
Big thanks, Kai, and thanks also for having me. A big thanks to everyone. Now, first of all, it was touched on before, right? I mean, on the context of industry cloud, from day one, we said, look, the ecosystem has to carry the majority, if you will. Sometimes we say 80%, I mean, but that's just a number. It could be 90% of the innovation needs of our customers out there. And that's clear in the world of platform. Not one single company can deliver all our customers want. So from that perspective, delivering highly specific individual needs for our customers across the globe in an ever-increasing portfolio for 25 industries. We said, okay, we have to activate the ecosystem. And we do that in hand with our friends, Jan and Jörn, in development, in solution management, on the go-to-market side. And look at the numbers talk for themselves, right? You mentioned it, since Sapphire launched last year, we have by now roughly 150 confirmed strategic industry cloud partner applications in our funnel. And there's way more to come. So that the ecosystem is picking up on this topic. So check, right, the strategic importance for the ecosystem for this program is here to stay. It's also not a 2021 topic. That's next year and the year after and the year after. Yeah. Now, the second topic I would touch on is one of the questions, or probably the most asked questions I got over the years from partners building IP with us and on our platform is, okay, how do I protect my investment? How do I make sure that what I build makes sense in the context of what you guys do and what other partners do? And here I want to quickly highlight that jointly with, again, our friends in development and solution management, we have created the so-called opportunity maps for all 25 industries that clearly articulate where do we build ourselves. So again, this is something, Jörn Keller's world, for instance, retail, consumer products, we make very clear and transparent for our partners. This is functionality, these are differentiating process we build ourselves. I mean, there's nothing stops a partner out there. It's an open ecosystem, but we would never encourage a partner to intrude in this turf, so to speak. But then there's strategic white space where we intentionally decide internally that's not what we want to pursue in certain industries. So we actively reach out for partners to fill them. And then there's an even broader open white space, if you will, Kai, where it's free for the ecosystem kind of to grab the opportunity, so to speak, and make it happen. And then my last point would be on the how. How do we support it? And that's a topic where I could probably talk an hour on what we all activated and achieved, and again, with the support of our friends in development on the go-to-market side. But let me quickly highlight 3 quick topics here. It was mentioned before, BTP is the platform of choice. And on the ecosystem side, we see, of course, build on scenarios and integrate with scenarios. Both are fine, but we made it mandatory in order to qualify for an industry cloud application. It has to be on BTP. We see a strong uptake since the launch of the program on the adoption of the ecosystem, and we are continuously improving that journey for our partners. The second one is, and it's a one of a kind at SAP, I would say, we have created the so-called development and architecture guides that clearly spells out for our partners how to build an industry cloud application. I've been talking here about programming models, workflows, runtimes, integration, of course, and we enhance this tool more and more over time. So talk about S/4HANA Extensibility, for instance, that will be launched in the next iteration. My understanding, if I recall it right, we launched this tool or this document last year at TechEd, and there's a version 2.0 coming out as we speak. So I would invite everyone listening interested in how to build an industry cloud application as a partner, as a developer, to check out that tool. And then last one, we put our money where the mouth is. So it's about investing into this program. So we have significantly ramped up our capacity internally at SAP for technical account management, for partner engineers. Jointly again with Jörn, we have a kind of defined processes, how API requests from our partners, how the hand-holding that needs still to happen for partners along the journey from initial idea to a beautiful go-live project. All that is come together. And again, we have ramped up in the range of 30, 40, 50 headcounts on this topic in total, and we will go further and further on this topic. So last thing I want to say is that it's a continuous improvement journey. But again, our surveys show also year-over-year growth of 20% on the Net Promoter Score from our build partners. So we're doing probably something right here. That's a journey. We aim for even higher. But I hope, Kai, that gives you a glimpse on what we are doing on the ecosystem side.
Yes. So Jan, Jörn, Ralf, thank you for demonstrating what SAP's Industry Cloud is all about. I mean, we see that industries lines are blurring. We see transformation happening. This is why we have one SAP Industry Cloud, where actually you can pick and choose the right applications from, no matter whether they're built from SAP or our partners. We have a clear plan in terms of the opportunity map. We do not only call out the strategy, we're also executing by really delivering. And with this, I would like to hand over to Jana and Carsten, because there should be some questions popped up in the chat in the meantime that we are happy to answer from here.
Yes, thank you so much. And I actually also have one question in. So you mentioned that there are sort of 25 industries that you're covering. And the first question is, will there be an aerospace and defense cloud?
I would call it this way: there's one SAP Industry Cloud, and with applications, and some of them are highly relevant for aerospace and defense, such as also for other industries. So if I think about, for example, digital manufacturing cloud in there, if I think about developments that are happening in the area of grouping, packing, distribution, I mean, these are all processes where you can then choose from also as an aerospace and defense customer. And we see with many companies, think about aerospace and defense related to IM&C, related to defense and security, where there are highly relevant applications for each of the 25 industries. We've got the opportunity maps that are also outlining what we have planned to do. And of course, we have the SAP roadmaps and the SAP Roadmap Explorer that also publicly makes this available.
And maybe if I can add to that, I fully agreed. And I think in general, we don't exclude any industry. And like Ralph explained, especially through our partner ecosystem, the door is wide open. Of course, inside of SAP, we need to decide, where we put our bets, so to speak. We also realize, obviously, we cannot serve all solutions in all industries, like Kai said. So therefore, we started with a focus on a few industries where we put organic investment at the moment. But we've also followed the market, obviously. If we see the demand, we'll also then continue to invest in other industries. And like I said, the partner ecosystem we see being very, very active across all industries. So like I said at the beginning, it's an open innovation space and everybody is invited. And it's not only for a few industries that we define.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Then maybe to make that even clearer, in case there are still open questions on the partner side, if we look at Industry Cloud now, and if we look at the classical industry solutions, and then at the BTP extension suite, how does Industry Cloud exactly position among all that? If you could just kind of, maybe Johan, is that one for you, or who wants to have a go at that?
Yes, certainly, I can take that one. I mean, it's really the combination that comes together, and that's the beauty of it, right? On the one hand, as Jan outlined, we build our applications organically on BTP, which we have there large investments and build those products out in the 4+1 industries. And then, of course, if you think about extension and extension suite, I mean, on the one hand, these can be extensions customers build themselves to essentially then enhance the applications. And we have seen a nice example there earlier from Page, right? And then, of course, it's also about building our own IP by our partners, right? And then Ralph alluded to this. We really have with many partners clear agreements, how do the roadmaps look like? How do the applications also come together in an orchestrated way, right? By leveraging the advantages of the things we built here as SAP, and then also leverage the IP and the strengths of our partners. So yeah, this is perhaps my short answer to it. This is how the pieces come together, where we leverage our technology, our investments in a concentrated, jointly aligned way forward.
Yeah, and maybe again, one more comment from my side, because this question comes quite a bit, especially in regards to the industry solutions. And, we have definitely a complementary strategy here. So first of all, the industry solutions that most of them are available in the private cloud of S/4HANA still. When we look into the public cloud, we went through quite an extensive exercise to really understand what is needed to run a generic ERP solution in a specific industry, and that requires certain adaptations, like text verticalization in retail, for instance, and things like that. We obviously have that then in S/4HANA itself. But then we said, okay, specific industry capabilities will be built under the umbrella of Industry Cloud on the business technology platform. And as Kai said earlier, really reimagining business processes, because a lot has changed, obviously, in the last couple of years and decades, so to speak. So we want to cater to that. And that's actually a very powerful combination going forward. But even customers that run in a private cloud, they are able to consume those industry innovation on the BTP as well. And that's why I said we are integrating that back into S/4HANA in the public cloud as well as in the private cloud. So I think we have a very clear strategy and can help customers on connecting the dots here between for their demand in whatever industry capabilities they need from us.
Okay, and maybe as a follow-up to that one, if we speak extensions here, do I get that right, that we're actually talking side-by-side extensions, so actually partners who want to build something are free in the technology they use for that? Which usually you would be in side-by-side extensions, I guess?
Yeah, maybe I start and Ralph jump in. Yeah. I mean, we do encourage partner to build on the business technology platform, and obviously we want to make it easy for them. Yeah? So we're exposing our data models, we're giving them APIs and so on. So I believe it is relatively easy to build an application or an extension to an application on the business technology platform. But in general, partners are free to build applications on whichever technology stack they want. As long as they kind of integrate then through the business technology platform into the SAP world. I think that's what Ralph mentioned earlier with, build on or integrate with BTP. So I think that's the strategy we follow.
Yeah, and maybe just to build on this quickly, what Jan said is, look, if you look at competition, by the way, that's nothing different than what others are doing, right? I mean, in a sense, let's say if there's an existing partner that has built a solution out there historically before BTP maybe on our side had the maturity that was required for such a scenario, then of course we would not force such a partner if we feel there's an interesting marriage between SAP and that one on the go-to-market side to deliver customer value to re-platform in step one, right? That's sometimes economically not even advised or feasible. I think everyone in the industry would understand that. But for new scenarios, when we, for instance, sit together now with Jörn, think about the retail roadmaps, think about what we built ourselves, and think about, okay, here's an area where we actively solicit and invite a partner, could be an existing one, could be a new one, to build then such a new extension, such a new scenario. There we would strongly encourage and advise, as per the guidelines of the Industry Cloud Program, that would be a build on BTP scenario. So we're allowing for both, but the bias and the pivot on our side is, of course, obviously that over time, the build-on scenarios that we're using the runtimes of BTP and not, say, of a hyperscaler would be the vast majority.
Okay, thank you. And I think your iPad is not updating anymore, right? So I'm taking the next question and actually also the last question. Do we need Keema runtime enabled in SAP BTP to access the industry cloud functionality? Who wants to take this one?
I mean, I can give it, of course, a first shot, and then people can add to it. I mean, Keema is our extension runtime, right? For extensions to then essentially extend the applications as such. If accessing is meaning the services, what BTP is offering, obviously not. That is not then a mandatory thing. But if you want to interact and enhance, extend existing applications that have been built on BTP, then Keema is the runtime of choice for that.
Okay, thanks. I think we have to call it a day with the questions for now. So thank you, Kai. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Jörn. Thank you, Ralph, again, for being here at TechEd 2021. Key, I guess, is we get everyone on board with the industry cloud. We get partners on board. We get all industries on board. We get at least a good bunch of technologies on board. Where are the tons of infos that probably go beyond what we've talked about?
Yes, so there's always the community, as mentioned. So there's also a page on Industry Cloud. Then we also have an SAP.com presence around Industry Cloud, and we want to highly recommend the Partner Edge platform because that's actually the place for partners to make use of the offerings. And I want to highlight some TechEd sessions. So as you can see, there are a bunch of sessions that already took place, but you can participate in the recordings. But there are two ones that I really want to highlight. As mentioned, we have 40% of our TechEd offerings are around customers and partners. And this is Partner Session 104 with Forcom and Partner Session 105 with Infosys. So this is my personal recommendation to say. And last but not least, for this hour, we are very happy to also have a partner video. We will have Jim Franklin, who is Global Head of Technology Alliances at Dell Technologies. And yeah, let's kick off the video.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be speaking with Jim Franklin, Global Head of Technology Alliances at Dell Technologies. Hey, Jim.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. So my first question for you. Why should customers be interested in running S/4HANA Cloud in any data center? And is there a certain profile of customer you see taking advantage of it?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, customers today, they have to take advantage of trying to stretch their IT dollar. They have to manage complex SAP landscapes. And really what they're looking at, I think, is trying to change the financial model and how they offer new applications and new services to their customers. So if we think about those considerations, customers that typically take advantage of this sort of operating model are ones that have SAP landscape sprawl. They're looking to consolidate. They're looking to get new data sets into their data center. And they're looking to accelerate through some financial flexibility how they take advantage of competitive landscapes and new offers that they could offer to their customers.
Well, that sounds incredible. So what makes Dell Technologies unique as a platform partner for running S/4HANA Cloud in any data center?
So Dell and SAP have had a long history of partnering, nearly 30 years of innovation. So we understand each other, we understand our joint customers, which is a massive joint install base, and we have that dialogue with our customers every day. So we understand their problems, we understand where they're looking to go, and I think together we offer a very efficient, very customer-centric platform. And across Dell themselves, we have a broad portfolio that we can bring together and have some efficiencies in how we run the data center and optimize the SAP landscape. And lastly is we have a very large financial flexibility, right? We operate in over 100 countries. We have thousands of support personnel that work closely every day with SAP to support those customers. And we understand their enterprise needs. We understand the business dynamics that they're going through, and we understand how to maximize that IT dollar.
So you say you're customer-centric. What benefits will customers get from running S/4HANA Cloud in their data center of choice with Dell Technologies?
Sure. I think there's three core benefits that our customers will receive from running SAP S/4 in any data center. And I think those are centered around financial flexibility, freeing up those dollars so that they can redeploy those towards ROIs that are more meaningful for their company. They get flexibility in how they deploy their IT infrastructure. So now I can stretch and expand as my business needs that capacity, right? And not in the traditional way that we've deployed in the past. And then I think they can adjust new data sets. As information grows, you need to be agile in how you respond to the market, how you respond to those data sets, and take advantage in this competitive landscape of those new insights.
Speaking of new landscapes, how do you see digitization impacting as-a-service strategies and running S/4HANA Cloud in any data center?
Yeah, so for our customers, they're increasingly having to be quicker with their business decisions. They have new data sets that are coming in, and they have to be competitive in their industry. And what we're finding is 50% of new data is being created at the edge. So it no longer sits in a traditional data center. So we have to build agile infrastructure that allows you to get to the edge. And that information can't be pulled back to the data center. It needs to stay in place because of data gravity or governance issues. And it also be managed by citizens of that country in some areas of the world. So we need to be able to stretch the IT concept, the data center concept, to the edge through a cloud-like operating model that allows our customers to use their IT dollar in a most efficient and effective way.
Well, sounds like a great benefit for your customers. Jim, thank you so much for sharing these insights today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Hi, my name is Orla Cullen, and I work on the analytics team. And as you can see, it is a TechEd time of year. TechEd is one of my favorite events of the year. I've been going for many, many years, both as a customer and also as an SAP employee. Normally about this time, I'd be running around freaking out, trying to get my hands-on material together. But this time around, it's going to be slightly different. So as we're virtual, we'll be running Channel 1, and this year I'm going to be one of your Channel 1 moderators. So I am super excited to be having conversations with my colleagues, customers, partners, students, influencers, and best of all, giving you guys the opportunity to ask us questions and chat with us on the platform. So super excited, can't wait to see you all there. It's going to be super fun.
Hello and welcome back to Channel 1, streaming live from our cozy SAP TechEd house. And I'm actually in my favorite room, the kitchen. Yes, and as you might have heard in Jürgen's keynote, he mentioned 3 different challenges. He mentioned the pandemic, he mentioned climate change, and he also mentioned inequality. And this topic hour will actually